Hello everyone. Before we start today's video, if you could all do me a solid and lightly tap the like button, perhaps share the video about and leave a comment. If you are not subscribed, subscribe as well. It would greatly help this channel. Thank you very much. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's log, subdates 221221.1. On the 21st day of Moistmas, my whole crew gave to me 21 shots of stuff. I have no idea what any of them are, and to be honest, I'm half tempted to feed them to the crew. One looks like tripe. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. If my voice sounds slightly different, yes, I have a slightly sore throat. My nieces all got sick. I, as a consequence, got a sore throat. It's as far as any illness comes with me, because I will never be afflicted with the sickness. So today we're going to be looking at some videos that were doing their rounds on Twitter that came from TikTok, because it turns out the anti-SJW lines and rhetoric still aren't done. They're making a renaissance. A comeback, everyone. Ooh. Wow. It's so exciting. We have one user I'd like to take a look at who has made a couple of videos that I think are quite fascinating, two of which are duets, and there's a reason why they are duets and not the original videos we'll get to when we get to the third video. You'll understand, it's hilarious. The fourth video I've got for you, hence the title Folie, Deux, is because, apparently we now have an explanation for something that I didn't realize we had to care about. So take it away, The Grey Witch 3. You want to say hello, Tilly? Yeah. Yes, you're getting a random Tilly break. You're welcome. She's on my keyboard, and there's a chance she might just delete all of this. You're not going to meow anymore? Yeah.
If BIPOC stand in the street and scream at the top of their lungs, I hate all white people, I want all white people to go die, die white devil, you cracker bitch.
Sounds pretty racist to me, but I'm blue, what do I know? I don't have any societal structural privilege, which is totally what racism is, right? Additionally, without the context of why someone would shout that in the first place, all I can say is that it is on the face of it racist. No one should, based on the hue of one's epidermis, judge another person. If we are to teach the future this, we need to teach them that by leading by example. If you have to devolve something down to an arbitrary, it not only shows how intellectually weak you are, but also how judgmental you are as an individual.
That's still not racism.
Oh, so I was right. It's not the what racism is by definition. No, it's the structural societal power struggle thing. Again, white people make up 8% of the population, but they're the problem in this if we're doing it by race. The scourge, the menace, because only they did slavery, because only they have dictatorships, because they don't do democracy, because they don't do equality. If we're doing it by race, that is. Am I right to assume, and I'm going to assume early, that you are doing your part to rid this world of the whitey menace by getting blacked? Because that's what matters.
And I don't know why people don't get that, why white people are not comprehending that. That's discrimination. It's an action that's bred out of a prejudice, for sure.
Prejudice against another person based on the color of their skin is known by another word. Allow me to spell it for you. WASCISM. Racism. That's how you spell it, right? Yeah? I'm a really good speller. Can you tell? And the reason your fellow whiteys don't understand it, the crackers in the comments that you're getting ready for, don't quite get it, is because you just owned yourself by admitting prejudice. But prejudice based on skin color is racism. Not reverse racism, just racism. WASCISM. Racism.
Justified, arguably. But screaming white people should die in my face doesn't change my socioeconomic status.
Oh, fuck off with this nonsense. If you want it to be a race to the bottom instead of elevating everyone up, just say it. Your socioeconomic status. You're in Canada. Please do explain in great detail, providing citation, what advantage you have over someone else, and tell it to them. Tell it to someone who is, as you said, BIPOC. We just say person of color over here, I believe, don't we? BAME, black and minority ethnic. Is that it? Yes. I think I'm one of those. It should be blue and minority ethnic. If you benefit from something, rather than taking advantage of it to maintain your position, why don't you take it away from yourself? Why don't you campaign to have it taken away from yourself? You know, from your prime minister that's, well, embezzled so much money. Because he's all about that championing equality and feminism, right?
It doesn't change the fact that the criminal justice system was built to serve me and people who look like me. It doesn't change the fact that my skin color won't get me brutalized by the police.
For that argument to be true, that would depend on which country you're in, dipshit. There are some countries, and plenty of them, where you would be openly discriminated against. You really would. And to be this narrow-minded is remarkable. You've had in your country a very liberal prime minister for a long time. You really have. And this bollocks is still going on. Speaks volumes about how effective that prime minister is, really. Hypocritical as well, but then again, he did do blackface on more than one occasion, didn't he? And don't think I didn't notice the writing on the screen. Anyone of any race can be a victim of racism. They really can. It is this interpretation of westernized racism that ignores the fact that you could be discriminated against because of your skin color in another country. I have a stepbrother. Storytime, everyone. He went to Australia. He wanted to live there, in fact. He went to an area where white people were not, and he is white, went to an area where they are not in abundance. He was discriminated against because of his skin color. People refused to serve him. People refused to talk to him. And it was because of his whiteness. Racism, everyone. You know, the crap Azealia Banks is accusing Australia of, but not for white people. Fascinating, isn't it?
It doesn't change the fact that the entire country was built to cater to people who look like me. Screaming "I hate white people" at me doesn't change the fact that I am dripping with white privilege.
So getting black would fix that, wouldn't it? Because then there's less chance of your blasted race continuing. That's the plan, right? I've often, over the years, certainly when the anti-SJWs, the skeptics are about, wondered, how do you resolve the issue of white privilege, really? Because that's the thing. Many people just want to find a solution to it. Yet, no solution is offered that isn't a form of discrimination against them for being white. Humanity has gone through some rather challenging times, certainly in the West. Certainly when it came to indigenous folk, when it came to slavery, it's not a good look on anyone. That said, there are many countries in the world where slavery is still a thing, akin to that of slavery from back then. And people seem to forget that white people were victims of slavery as well. It turns out everyone sold anyone if they got the chance. Power, money, you'd be surprised how easily people are corrupted by it. But again, revisionist interpretation of history usually suits a narrative, and I assume that is what dictates how this idiot thinks. Dripping in white privilege. Have you considered a shower?
As long as I hold the power dynamic, I cannot be subject to racism. Hurt white feelings does not equal racism. This is not a conversation.
Hurt feelings of any individual based on the color of their skin is racism, and a conversation should certainly happen about it. A conversation that involves everyone of every different type of belief. And I mean this for all types of racism in any westernized country where they still don't quite grasp the concept of what racism actually is. Morons like you were on YouTube, well, half a decade ago, and you were beaten the F off. You absolutely were. Why? Because you're idiots. And you have to be so, intellectually stunted. I would love to have a conversation with you about this, by the way. I really would, because I think you're stupid. You may not like that, but that is what it is. Now, as you have more videos, but I have to go through them through, what are they called, duets? Yeah, we're going to play the next one.
Here's something disgusting for everyone to chew on today. Two white privileged lords book a private plane, go to the Yukon into an indigenous community, pretend to be frontline workers, and steal a couple COVID vaccines.
Now that is a massive dickhead move. 100%. If caught, I assume they were based on the article behind you, I hope they face the fullest extent of the law based on what your law dictated the punishment should be. Not what you're about to say it is, because I'm going to skip ahead to what you think the punishment should be.
A community who is getting the vaccine first because of their higher than average elder population. And yeah, they got caught. And he resigned. Before you check, her Instagram is disabled. I was going to go scorched earth on there, believe me.
It's funny how you mentioned that. We'll get to why in a moment. Also, you were going to go scorched earth over there? I thought scorched earth was where you deleted everything, or privated something. Tad ironic. But let's get to the punishment part, and your interpretation of it.
But what is their punishment? 2 $575 tickets each. He made $10.7 million in 2019. The audacity, the privilege, the class privilege, the white privilege, and the blatant ass racism. This is a great example of how racism doesn't have to be hatred.
I mean, you certainly seem to hate your own race enough. Now, to address the punishment. A punishment for a crime should not be proportionate based on what you earn. That is not what the law dictates. It should always be the same for everyone. Doesn't matter how much you earn. If you thought, oh, you made 10 million, right, your fine is 12 million. You are an idiot suffering from white guilt. Go tie yourself up in some chains, walk around some nations in Africa holding up a sorry sign. I assume that's your next move. On to the next video.
It is not up to black people to make allies feel comfortable, okay? They are busy.
Is this the part where we insert obligatory stereotypes based on someone's race, right? If you are working together to defeat racism, you have to have time for each other, because that's the point. To work together. That's the point. If all it is a podium for someone to bleat on about their problems but not speak of any solution because they do it alone, they are not seeking to resolve an issue, they are simply seeking to steal all the attention onto themselves. To be that akin to somebody who's on job seeker's allowance moaning that no one else will give them a job, while they themselves don't ever look for a job.
As allies, we do not get to stop being allies because we get called out or embarrassed or uncomfortable.
Oh, arbiter of truth, tell me more. If anyone knows where that quote's from, well done. Additionally, what made you the voice for white people? I just wanted to know, bossy.
And when I see black TikTok creators calling out allies on some necessary bullshit, and I go to the comment section and all I see are white people going, well, I'm white and I would never do that. You are not helping.
Do you ever feel like sometimes some people just don't want a solution to a problem? They don't want allies, they don't want people on their side, they don't want people to unite, they don't want people to work together. No, they just want to be a bitch, a Karen, a complainer, a bossy cowbag. Hi, Grey Witch 3, that's you. Now I want to insert this now. Why did I say that there was something interesting about her mentioning Scorched Earth, going on that on somebody else after they deleted their posts on Instagram? Because she privated her account. I'm sorry, how can you claim to be so brave, so brazen, so stand-up-ish and tough, like a good internet tough guy Tonkasaur 2.0, when reality sets in and actually you're just as fickle, feeble and weak as everyone else? You're not an ally to shit. You're a virtue signalling nothing. You're a cringe lord, a pussy, a wimp, a wuss. If there are any other names that I have left out, do put them in the comments and drive up the engagement, and smash the like. Now before we finish, I'm going to show you one more video, because this one also tickled me, but it's not from her, it's from somebody else, but also tweeted via libs of TikTok.
So I'm going to be showing you how to use emoji pronouns in sentences. Did you know that any emoji can be used as pronouns? Shut up! No!
Can you do me a favor? Can you please shut up? Perhaps delete the app? Stop making content? Why do I need an emoji for a pronoun? Oh my life. I'm getting too old for this shit, alright? I'm getting too old.
Most emoji self-pronouns follow the same grammatical formula.
Wait, there's grammar to this?
However, if something does change, it'll be specified, so don't worry. For example, if someone uses they-them pronouns, but doesn't want to be outed just yet, then they can use emoji self-pronouns in place of they-them pronouns. It'll look something like this. Hold on, I'll move out of the way so you can take a picture.
No, I don't think I'll be taking a picture of that. Over the years, I've seen many people tell me that the world or life is like a game level, and at some point we need to get to the next one. I feel like we've gotten to a stage where we missed the checkpoint, and the game is scrambling desperately to find ways to make it creative for us before we all bore ourselves to death. The problem is, it has no concept of humanity, and nor do apparently those involved in it.
So if you're like, how am I going to use an emoji pronoun in person if the person does want to use the emoji in person? Well, most people just use the noun itself as the emoji.
I thought you were going to do hand gestures with silhouettes and shadows.
For example, dog emoji, dog's pronouns. However, some emojis might not have any word alternatives. For example, someone who uses no pronouns, or they just have no correlation to the emoji. An example of this would be using a smiley emoji online and they-them pronouns in person. Just ask the person you're conversating with and they'll teach you.
Millennials get a lot of crap for ruining the world. I fall into this bracket of millennial, and while I think millennials can take some responsibility for their part, this, oh dear God, is, well, it's something. I'm kind of grateful that many millennials started to decide not to have kids. They are, along with myself, doing our part to ensure there are less people here when we leave. Although if you vote No Lives Matter in 2024, we shall expedite it.